Human beings fundamentally do not enjoy change. We like to think about the past and think about the future as being just slightly different. But the paradox, of course, is that we live in a time of tumultuous change. The human race will actually peak in terms of population at the end of the century. Birth rates are declining, healthcare is improving, people are living a lot longer. The other major trend that's going on is urbanization. About 2 to 2.5 million people around the world are moving into cities every week. And then we have this wonderful force called globalization. People want to communicate with each other. People want to know what's going on in different parts of the world. Last year, there were over 1 billion people crossed over borders as tourists. The last 10 years have shown a doubling in permanent immigration. And the flow of information now, typically over the internet, is massive. And McKinsey have done some studies on this, and they estimate it's 3,000 times the impact of previous shifts in industrial revolutions. And that's the context for which we're living. And many of the industries you're going to be working in, are not currently thought of. Now you think about these companies down here. They're really disrupting, complete industries. Airbnb, the hospitality industry. Things like Amazon and eBay, completely disrupting the retail world. Spotify, music, Uber, transport. It's just beginning, and it's going to turn over more and more industries. I'm sure that the folks at Marriott or any of the, the hotel chains weren't sitting there worrying about Airbnb. Don't think about the world as it is right now. Don't think about the assumptions that, folks have had. It's all going to change. There's 3 basic things you have to do as a leader. Direct the resources, whatever they might be. All right, so set the strategy, the vision. What is it? What's the direction of what we're going to do? The most important part of that, from my perspective, is actually the purpose. How do you explain to people on the team why we should bother doing this? The second thing around communication. You've got to align all of the stakeholders in what you're trying to do. And as my mother used to tell me, you were born with 1 mouth and 2 ears, and please use it proportionately. It's more about listening than it is about talking. And lastly, and most importantly, it's about people. When people ask me about Sienna, and the secret's very simple. I've got the best people. And not the best people just in terms of the smartest people, but how they work together. Google have done this massive study on what makes successful teams. The most effective teams are not necessarily the smartest people. It's getting a mix. The single characteristic that they found of most productive teams was when team members felt safe. It's when team members felt comfortable expressing themselves. You get the people thing right, and generally the rest of the stuff figures itself out. If you remember one thing from, the chat this afternoon, it is that. It is all about the people.